It's been very hilarious watching Morning Joe the last week or two, last few weeks, because they're still in denial about what's about to happen. I told you I'm not good at predicting electoral politics. Who is, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm pretty confident Biden's gonna lose.
Yeah.
Gaza completely tainted. And then they're like all these mainstream corporate media heads are like, man, Trump is being bankrupt, Trump campaign in shambles. You are in straight up denial about what's about to happen, and that's gonna make it even more hilarious. But there are the smartest among the establishment that sees what we see coming, CJ. And I'm thinking about making a hotspot video on this tomorrow. I'm not really sure. I got a hotspot video I'm gonna do tomorrow. We guys know I gotta release another banger. But this is Dim Donor warning that Biden's support for Israel during the war on Gaza may hand Trump the White House. And you have more than 100, and I don't have to read the article, it's very brief, but more than 100 Democratic donors and activists on Monday warned that the United States President Joe Biden unconditional support for Israel's catastrophic war in Gaza, the genocide, is increasing the chances that former President Donald Trump will win next year's election. You don't fucking say. And I'm very sure that they're screwed. And this goes to your point about the Democratic coalition is fracturing. And that's why Democrats made a Hail Mary play. I'll put your receipt back up, CJ. That's why they made this Hail Mary play where they were trying to beat Trump using legal lawfare. And to the point where you had Rachel Maddow came out and said, oh, fuck, man, we got to beat Trump at the ballot box now.
Yeah.
Because
he's mad.
Fuck, God damn it. Because their plan was always to support Israel during this genocide. Their plan was always to promote war with China, to fund proxy war in Ukraine, pretty much do everything that everyone on the left hate, and then rely on the legal system to take Trump out, and then Nikki Haley will be the only candidate left, and now you got two neocons that you're going up against. Good luck.
Yeah, they don't mind Nikki Haley. She's fine for them.
And that's why you see headlines now. Like, it's crazy. They're not even hiding it. Like, you can look at MSNBC's YouTube channel. I was looking when I was doing my research for a segment for Nick at Night tomorrow, and all the segments like how Trump legal bill is going to tank his campaign. And they talking about how they won't have money to spend on election stuff that they usually would spend on. They won't be able to staff up. The fact that Trump won't be able to do tours, they won't be able to hold rallies. And they talk about, they openly bragging about, like, oh, look how we hampered the Trump campaign. It's clear that always was the strategy. The strategy was always to take him out using the legal system because they knew that they're fucked with the genocide. And then you have Nikki Haley, who sounds as nuts as any presidential candidate ever. So there's a reason why they had Nikki. I'll wrap it up, Rose. I apologize for going long, but there's a reason why you hear Nikki Haley.
I was quoting Nikki Haley. I wasn't telling you to finish.
Yeah. To that quote, though, there's a reason why they had Nikki Haley come out and say finish them. There's a reason why Nikki Haley come out and say all these crazy things about Gaza, because the plan was to take out Trump, and then also you got Nikki Haley as the alternative who've been saying all this crazy shit. You know what I mean? That was the plan. That plan isn't working. That's why they had a meltdown when the Supreme Court ruled that Trump couldn't be taken off the ballot, because that was their only plan. And there was a chance that it could have worked. But now that it's not working, I'm like, bro, they're fucked. And that's why they had to resort to that lawfare. And that's why the Biden administration haven't even tried to shift their policy in Gaza, because their plan was always to take out their opposition at the ballot. But go ahead, CJ.
Yeah, so great points by all of you added to this. And just to slightly bring it back, or lightly bring it back to the uncommitted vote doesn't matter unless you are uncommitted, unless you move from uncommitted to abandon in November. It does not make a difference. And then that leads me to this question. Why would you change your vote from uncommitted and then vote for Joe Biden? What has he done to make you say, oh, I hated you in the primary when you were committing a genocide? Now he did what? What did he do? So why would we give somebody like Joe Biden the benefit of the doubt if you are a person who's uncommitted and you're on the fence? Why would you give somebody who did 100 secret sales to Israel behind everybody's back under a certain threshold so it didn't have to be public? And then what you see on the screen, why would you support somebody who knew that Israel was bombing civilian targets all the way back in October, but now they want to build a maritime humanitarian port. Why would you do that? And I'm going to read a little bit of this article.
You guys realize
because,
that.
Go ahead, Nick. While I bring that
just,
up,
just, look, just real quick, you guys realize, and they are trying to do the Trump derangement shit already to get people to vote for Biden. Biden cutting UNRWA aid, using torture obtained confessions, is way worse than anything Trump has done. I want to be challenged on that. Biden facilitating this famine in Gaza, which their own administration said that every single person in Gaza is now possibly suffering from famine. For you to cut UNRWA aid with unconfirmed reports, confessions that come from torture, name something more devious a president has done in the last 10 years other than that. That's why Trump derangement syndrome will never work again. And last quick thought, I'll pass to you, CJ. If you're willing to vote for Joe Biden after his acts, after cutting UNRWA, after providing cover for the Al-Shifa hospital raid, after providing 2,000-pound bunker buster bombs, after providing diplomatic cover for Israel, it's time for you to stop pretending you're activists. Just admit that you're a loyal, diehard Democrat, and that's the only thing you care about is helping Democrats get elected. If you're one of the Muslims and you vote for Biden, admit that you care more about the Democratic Party than you care about your community. And yes, I will tell that to a black person to their face too. Because if genocide is not the red line, there is no red line.
Right.
Because this is the question I used to ask these people. Because remember, I had a hard divorce, debated false. I had all these hardcore conversations with these people. Well, I will list all the stuff that Biden has done. And I will tell these people, if these are not red flags, then just admit you're a Democrat. Just admit that's the things he did before he was president. So if you completely throw away your dignity and vote for a guy who committed a genocide, then you might as well throw all your activism away. You might as well quit being an activist and just admit that you're a Democrat and you're willing to support Democrats no matter what. CJ, go ahead. That's my last rant tonight. Go ahead.
So I do want to read this by Dave DeCamp over at antiwar.com. You've seen him on the network before. It's been a while. Maybe I'll bring him back on. But this is him, his reporting on the Washington Post article. You know, we're ad blocked, so that's why I'm reading it this way. Biden administration officials knew back in October that Israel was bombing buildings in Gaza without having, quote, solid intelligence that they were military targets, and continue to provide full support for the Israeli military operation. So basically, they had no idea what they were doing, and the United States was like, here, you want some more guns and ammunition? That's basically what happened. And this is from the Washington Post reporting on Monday. The report said that a briefing took place at the White House on October 27th, 20 days after the military action by Hamas, 3 weeks into the brutal Israeli military campaign. Due to the sheer destruction in Gaza, it was clear Israel was bombing the Strip indiscriminately. And a report from Plus 972, that's the name of a magazine, Plus 972 magazine, published in November, revealed Israel was actually intentionally hitting civilian targets, period. Like we all across the world didn't know that already. But I'll continue before I get comment from you guys. Israeli intelligence sources told Plus 972 that Israel targeted what it called power targets, which included civilian infrastructure such as high-rise apartment buildings, banks, universities, and other public buildings. The sources said that the Israeli military would also approve strikes that killed large numbers of civilians in an attempt to target only one Hamas member. Biden officials, go ahead if you want to chime in.
Continue. Go ahead, CJ. My bad. Go ahead.
Yeah, Biden officials also acknowledged during the October 27th meeting that Israel had no clear plan on how to defeat Hamas. Quote, we never had a clear sense that the Israelis had a definable and achievable military objective, a source familiar with the meeting told the Post. Quote, from the very beginning, there's been a sense of us not knowing how the Israelis were going to do what they said they were going to do, end quote. Any comments
and this is what I was going to say. I want to wait till you read that part. This is why I've been saying from day one, it's absurd for anyone to repeat the claim that Israel is at war with Hamas. Just look at what you just read there. They targeted high-rise apartments. They was aiming for large civilian casualties in order to kill one Hamas figure. That's what you call a cover story, my friends. Are we all children? Is everyone in the world children? Everyone in the world is sweet summer children. This is what you call ethnic cleansing. If you was, I have a question for you. I know we all not evil, but let's say you was committing genocide. What would you say to try to get away with a genocide? It's probably what Israel's fucking saying.
Tony, they came at me with a chainsaw jumping out of the tree. That's what happened, Tony.
He jumped out the tree, came in with a chainsaw. I got a right to defend myself.
Well, yesterday we were covering Netanyahu talking to Dana Bash, and she starts talking about them attacking people who were running to the food convoys. He goes, "Well, those are the unarmed members of Hamas." I'm not kidding. I'm like, well, they're we didn't get rid of all of Hamas. Those are the unarmed members of Hamas.
Yeah.
Yes.
The people running at the food trucks.
Yes, starving people who probably are only strong enough to take care of the loved ones that can't even move at all because they are dying of starvation. So, of course, they're going to run to a food truck, grab some food, and run back and hopefully feed their family members. But, oh, wait, they got shot.
Yeah, no, he was claiming that's Hamas.
Oh, that was
now these are gangs.
And now these are gangs, right? Looters now trying to get flour. We covered this exact story. We actually covered it using the original WAPO piece because, it's a very damning piece. And it's nothing that we didn't know already, but it's one thing to know and it's another thing to have proof, and it's another thing to have a major paper of record like the Washington Post actually print this. That, they were at best 50-50 on their confidence that Israel had any confidence of its own that they were actually targeting legitimate military targets. I think 50-50 is placing it pretty high. From this piece here, it's quite obvious that they knew that they were making up bullshit stories to just cover. With not much foresight, because it just like it doesn't take a genius to know that Ukraine can't beat Russia in a war. It didn't take a genius to know that this was going to be a genocide that they would not be able to defend forever. And here they are. We're 8 months out. They're now trying to slow pedal this for the simple reason that they are getting creamed in the polls over it. But they can't because Netanyahu is not a popular figure in Israel, and the only way he can remain in power is to keep the war going and say, well, we're not having an election until after the war. So now they're totally fucked. And they could have seen this coming a mile away, but Joe Biden, as he says on camera, he's a Zionist. I mean, he is committed to giving them the benefit of every single doubt, and this is where it landed him.
Yeah, let me just read this last two parts, and I'll pass to you, Nick, so you can give your complete analysis. But U.S. intelligence has acknowledged since that Hamas isn't going away. The annual threat assessment that was released publicly by the Office of the Director of National Intelligence this month said, quote, Israel will probably face lingering armed resistance from Hamas for years to come. End quote. Despite the lack of realistic goal and massive civilian casualty, President Biden still continues to provide unconditional aid, military aid for the slaughter. Since October 7th, his administration has approved over 100 arms deal to Israel. Now, understand, he knew this in October 27th, and he provided 100 more secret arms deal. After that, that's the end of the article. Let's give last comments and then we can get out of here. But go ahead. Any final comments on?
In the words of Nikki Haley, we must be getting the fuck out of here. Yes.
Yeah, just more broadly, how this election is going in a collapsing empire, or if you wanted to be more specific about how the Biden administration knew. But go
Okay.
ahead. Go ahead.
If I could just say in regards to this entire article and everything that we are witnessing, it's for many normal people who are going to be watching this, they're going to be scared and confused and frightened, and I think we have to awaken these people and bring them in slowly into something that we've been talking about and been warning about for a very long time. And Hardlands Media, we were here before you guys do Dissidents, RBN, but 2017, it was that time we saw this. Maybe there was a chance for people to wake up, and it still wasn't enough. And if this isn't the moment in time where we could wake people up and realize it doesn't matter if it's Trump or Biden in the White House, we have to break away from this, or we are all sinking on this ship. So we have to start doing mutual aid, citizen ballot initiatives, and working together, because electoral politics is going to get us more of the same of Joe Biden or another Trump, and we can't afford it anymore. We just can't risk it anymore. That's all I want to add in.
Yeah. Now, to the point of this article, I feel like this is what a lot of people are forgetting. That we have a president who's a literal criminal terrorist. And I was about to stop you there by wanting you to finish the article, CJ, because you saw the part where the Biden administration made it clear that they knew that Israel was targeting civilian infrastructure. The fact that you have Biden publicly saying that Israel is bombing indiscriminately, that means the Biden administration knows that Israel is targeting and killing civilians. So any country, and this is a law in the United States, if you are a president and you send arms and munitions to countries that you know is committing human rights violations, that's violation of Leahy's law. And I keep mentioning this. Isn't it funny that us radical, crazy black commies at RBN, we know the law more than the institutionalists? 25 groups demand Biden urgently comply with U.S. law and end Israel arms sales. Look, read that headline again. They demand Biden urgently comply with U.S. law. We are at the point right now in our country where people are begging the president to stop being a criminal. Because what Biden is doing is highly illegal. Even if Israel was going after Hamas, having military targets is not a legitimate excuse for committing war crimes. It never has been and never will be. I guess it will be because Israel's redefining war. So last thoughts, I won't go on another rant. People need to emphasize this part more. When people, and this is why they never invite me on to debate. When like Piers Morgan, I saw a lot of people tag me on the Piers Morgan. Because Piers Morgan always invite these pro-Palestinian voices on to debate, but they don't invite me on. Like, you guys need to defend Biden breaking the fucking law. I thought you guys were for law and order. So you start here. If you're debating any of these liberals, any of these AIPAC scum who's defending what they're doing, do you believe in law and order or do you not? And if you don't, you're a terrorist, no different from Hamas. Because the idea is a terrorist is someone who don't have rules when they engage in combat. That's the idea. But that's what they are openly saying. We can kill as many people as long as it means we're targeting Hamas. There's no greater terrorist than the United States government. Any last thoughts, guys? And we can finish the last few super chats we have. Any last thoughts? Going once, going twice?
Well, that's I always, when you look at this, when people talk about the threat from China, the threat from Russia, I always quote Marcus Aurelius. You know a thing by what it does. Look at the body counts. How many deaths is China responsible for? How many deaths is Russia responsible for? Look at how many deaths we're responsible for. Millions upon millions upon millions. That tells you what our intentions actually are.